If you are not already following Benny, please go ahead and follow her. And if you'd like to follow me as well, go ahead and follow me and follow my page, The Purpose Eagle, and I'll tell you everything, what we are all about. But tonight's guest is going to be Benny, one of my friends, and I'll tell you all about how we met. She's a wonderful person, and I absolutely love her story. I love who she is before social media, and I want to invite her on just to share her story with us. So Benny is no stranger to this, so let me go ahead and invite her on. Hey, Benny.
Girl, that intro, I was like, don't cry now.
No, oh, Betty, you have no idea. I am such a fan of who you are before even social media.
Thank you
And
so
so I'm
much.
really happy that you are on tonight. Yeah. So let me just tell you guys how me and Benny met. This is the reason why I actually really love Benny. Okay, so last year I was telling you guys that out of nowhere, I felt led to go ahead and throw a entrepreneurship event like within a month's notice, right? One of my cousins passed away, and he was very young, very talented, and I already had this idea in mind, but I believe that God brought it back to me for this reason. And he was like, listen, you need to get this event together. You need to, get it out there.
Mhm.
And so Benny and I have a mutual friend, Chantel, which that's my girl. I love her so much, and I know Benny loves her too.
Mhm.
Um, and so she was helping me to spread the word, but then she said, "Oh, a friend of mine wants to be a vendor at your event." And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, shameless plug. The Purpose Eagle is an event for, again, Christian entrepreneurs to come and vend their products, but just a social space where you can make connections, meet different people, and support businesses, support kingdom businesses. And it's for everybody to come. But Benny was specifically a vendor. And so Chantel just said, "Oh, my friend wants to be a vendor. I want you to like reach out to her and stuff like that." So she gave me her number, and Benny's like so nonchalant. I didn't even know exactly who it was. And I kept feeling that like I was at my church's, I don't know what I was doing. I was so busy. But something was like, you need to reach out to this girl. You need to reach out. And so I reached out, and she was like, "Yeah, here's my Instagram or something." I don't even know. And when I looked, I was like, wait a minute. Is this the Benny?
Girl, don't make my head bigger than it is. Please, do not make my head big, because I got a head, okay? Do not make it any bigger, please.
And Benny just humbly came to the networking event, and she just was selling her shirts at the time. Did you have a journal at that time, or
Yes, it was my sister's. No, I didn't have my journal yet. It was my sister's book, so
uh
she couldn't come, and I was like,
yeah.
go ahead and celebrate and show up for the sis as well. But no, that was great. I really had a great time. The worship was amazing. All the people that you brought out, it was great. It was a good time to be there. So thank you for
Thank you.
having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time out to be there. And let me tell you something. This is the reason I want to make an emphasis on this point right here. We know that the topic of this live is going to be all about leaving your 9 to 5 and pursuing what you can pursue specifically in entrepreneurship.
Mhm.
But I think I started following Benny when she had like, I think you only had like 17,000 or maybe 30 in the 30s followers, right? And
Mhm.
do you see where Benny is now? Okay.
Child.
I'm gonna just make her head just a little bit more big.
Girl, please. I won't be able to fit my head, please.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what
I
I'm
can't say it
saying?
like
Let me stop.
her. But she's at almost 500,000, and this is what it means to like literally pursue, and she's just so natural at it. But some people are like, "Oh, I hate social media and stuff like this," but it can actually work for you if you just be
Mhm.
yourself and you're consistent, which
Yeah.
is what Benny does. And I'll let her talk a little bit about that. But before we do any of that, let's know, who is Benny? Like, who is Benny? What would you say you would use to describe you? Who's Benny?
My name is Benny. My full name Benedict, because I feel like sometimes it will be like Benny who. My full name Benedict, and Steak is not my last name, y'all. Benny Steak. It be my take on things, you know. I am a child of God, you know, sweet black Jesus first and foremost.
Be like Jesus.
I am hello. I am a sister, I'm a wife. I don't know. I feel like I just be Benny. I don't know that there's anything, you know. I think I'm kind, you know. I think I am a girl's girl, but that's just like, you know, who I am. I own a business. I am an entrepreneur now. And I really am just Benny. I don't know how to, it feels like weird to be like, describe Benny. Benny is just Benny in a nutshell. But yeah, I'm a sister. I'm a wife. Recently got married like last year, and yeah, I just you know I be running my mouth. I be talking. It just it really just be that, as you said. It's just you know me showing up as myself and just
Yeah.
you know not showing up as you know pretending to be somebody
Hmm.
else. Not trying to be like you know like just being me in my car, as most of
Yeah.
you guys see. You know, on my couch and just like the world around us, right? And
Right.
everything that we see. Um, I think I'm honest. I think I'm authentic to me, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Well, not only to you, because a lot of these people are in the comments vouching for your girl. Okay, I love it.
Thank you
And
so much. Thank you so much. Y'all have been great. Thank you
absolutely,
so much. Thank you very,
yeah,
very much. I appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely. And we love what you're doing, and I can vouch for it, knowing you for just a year, but I can definitely vouch that you are someone that's humble, and I appreciate that about you. Also, by the way, let me just throw this in here while we're still bigging her head up a little bit more.
I'm
Our mute.
telling you, I got a wig. It ain't gonna fit after this. You know, it ain't gonna fit. We gotta
That's
let
all
me start going.
right. That's all right. It'll fit tomorrow. It'll come back down and fit tomorrow.
Hello.
um, but one of our mutual friends, Benny, along with some other of her friends, planned this beautiful surprise party for her, and I'm sure like if she comes on, which she'll probably hop on,
Yeah.
planned this beautiful surprise party, and one of the things that we're going to talk about is your Lux events, Benny. But she put together this beautiful surprise birthday party where all the girls came together and just showered Chantel with so much love and joy and just good words. And just that speaks again to who she is, because she definitely put this event together. It was so low maintenance. There was no drama involved, and you can tell she did it with so much excellence because it was somebody that she loved. So
Mhm.
that's something else that I wanted to just put that out there. And
Thank you.
we flower you while you're alive. I'm a big believer in that. All my
Thank you
friends will
very
tell
much.
you.
Thank you very
But okay, so my next question is, I know you were born in Congo.
Yes.
And so tell me what your upbringing was like in Congo.
So I was born in Kinshasa, which is the capital of Congo.
Mhm.
I am one of six. I am the fourth. I don't know why my mom kept going because I feel like after she got me, like, what more did you want? Like, I feel like you should have ended right there. But alas, I have two other siblings behind me. My upbringing was really fun. One of the things that I miss about growing up in Congo was the community around it, right? Like, I had neighbors. Outside was where we all were. Um, we just played a lot. It was cousins. We were just like outside.
Mhm.
My mama woke me a lot. You know, like I just
Me
was
too.
not listening. It was a lot going on. That little chancleta, that little, the papa, like you would get it every now and then. But I had a fun childhood. I enjoyed, my friends. I enjoyed, my sisters, my
Mhm.
siblings. Went to school, and I just had like I had a normal childhood, right? Like I don't think I really worried much when I was, younger. And yeah, things were good until we ended up like, moving a little bit more. We ended up
Mhm.
moving from Kinshasa to Lubumbashi, which kind of like, rocked things a little bit for me because in Kinshasa they speak Lingala, as well as French and many other languages. But in Lubumbashi they spoke Swahili.
Mhm.
So It was just like
Mm,
a little bit more of a cultural shock for me. But then again, I was still young. You know, kids are gonna be kids. So my childhood was like, pretty nice. I was always loved. I always had my family. Now African mothers gonna love you different. You know what I'm saying? Black mamas are gonna love you different. Are you hungry? Like it ain't gonna be no apology. It ain't gonna be none of that. I
right.
was loved in a way that old school people love. But I grew up very much loved. Like, my sisters, my family, everybody rallies for me.
Mhm.
Um, I would say I had a pretty good childhood.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Nice. Nice. So now migrating to America, what was that like? Because I know it could be different, coming to a
Mhm.
different country. Yeah.
That was
What was that like?
definitely different because after we had left Lubumbashi, we ended up moving to Zimbabwe. It was just like, I'm not
Mhm.
going to get too much into it, but it was things were not safe in my country. That's what
Mm,
led us to go to Zimbabwe essentially. So that move again, I feel like kind of like disrupted my life a little bit.
mhm.
And in Zimbabwe now they speak English, right? Like it's
Um,
a whole nother culture, right? Like, and
yeah.
so people who think that Africa is just like this one big place and we all just like run around, it's not that. Like you have
Yeah.
so many countries, you have so many dialects, you have so many like different cultures,
Hmm.
even within, cultures, right? So being in Zimbabwe, it was a little rocky. At that time, we just couldn't afford school.
Hmm.
So for the 5 years in Zimbabwe, I didn't go to school or nothing. And so coming here in the US was definitely like a shift in that sense because it was
Hmm.
like 5 year gap in my education that I just, still had to catch up on.
Yeah.
And in Zimbabwe, they spoke English, but it's like, nuances just is very much different, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
speaking to Zimbabweans in English versus speaking to an American in English always
Hmm.
felt a little bit, um, a little different. So there was definitely a cultural shock. I did have to, get myself acclimated. I did have to get myself a little bit more involved, within the
Hmm.
culture here, make new friends. But I faced what most people face, right? Like, people thinking that you're not as smart because you came from, Africa,
Yeah.
things of that nature. But it wasn't ever anything that really moved me to, stop what I was doing, right? Like I
Yeah.
said, I hadn't gone to school for like maybe 4 years while we are in Zimbabwe. So that kind of like, made me just focus. Like while I was here, I'm just
Mm,
here to do school. I'm not really here worried about y'all.
right.
Um, so it was definitely cultural shock. But again, I had my family. I've always had people around me. I never did any of these things alone. So while making friends may have been hard at school, when I went home, my sisters were there. So I never felt maybe like, um, maybe that loneliness or maybe that
Yeah.
guilt of like, oh, being an only child or whatever the case
Right.
is. Every transitions that we went through in life, I had my siblings. So that kind of like
Hmm.
helped me essentially just like, keep myself level grounded because we're all going through the same thing.
Right.
And it just was helpful in that sense.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing because 4 to 5 years without, education in Zimbabwe and then having to come here, that is a lot. So I love your perspective on that because I believe that a lot of, I can't speak for everybody, but I've heard a lot of young
Hmm.
African American women that feel like, oh, we don't have the same, opportunities as others. But it has to be a perspective thing because
Hmm.
you could have been like, oh, I can't do this,
Hmm.
but you said focus. And
Hmm.
so that is powerful all in itself. I love that.
I mean,
And
I
you know what?
had to because it's like sometimes you don't realize what you're missing until you don't have it. Because it's like when I was in
Mhm.
school, when I was young, I was like, I hated school. I don't want to be here. Like, let me stay at home. But then when you stay at home for 4 years straight, then you're like, oh, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes.
So true.
Uh-huh.
Wow. I mean, and plus, did we even have a choice really? Because I feel like my parents are from Jamaica, and I feel like anybody Caribbean, from Africa, I mean, any other country,
Uh-huh.
once you come here and you have opportunities, what do you mean you're not going to school? You're sick?
Hello?
Okay. Get up and
Hello?
get out the house and go to
Hello?
school, right?
African
So,
parents, they do not play about that. They don't care. you're gonna be a doctor, you're gonna be a nurse, you're gonna be a lawyer, you're gonna be somebody, okay? You're gonna
Somebody.
be somebody. You're not gonna use up their mortgage and then, not amount to anything. You're
No,
gonna do something with yourself,
something.
okay?
Something. I love that. And you know what? Even when you do your stitches, I love when you do them because you can tell, even with the upbringing that you've had in some of the stitches, that your mom brought you up well, or your family, or whoever you grew up around.
One thing, but don't play. That woman does not play. That woman does not play at
I
all.
love
Like at
it.
all.
I love it. That's so funny. So okay, when now you're in America, now you have your siblings, so you have your tribe. You go through school and you like getting your job.
So my first job post college was actually in teaching.
Mm,
Um, I went to college to. I essentially wanted to be like a journalist because a part of me always knew that I just wanted to maybe like share my thoughts and just like somehow just like talk. Like I feel like, I just wanted to express myself a little bit more. So I felt like journalism was gonna be that avenue. So the plan was like,
mm,
hopefully I'm gonna get me a job at New York Times. We're gonna do the things, it's
yeah.
gonna give all the things. And as we were approaching that senior year, the internships was not giving. I'm talking about everybody was closing. Like it was
Mm,
giving nothing and a half. It just was not it at all. At all. I was looking for the jobs everywhere. There was like no way to be found.
mm,
And so a part of me, I low key got like a little afraid. I'm like, wait a minute, like I went to school. What am I gonna do? What
yeah.
am I gonna do? Um, and so I went into teaching because there was like an opportunity for me to still go to school while, they called it like a TIR to be like a teacher in residence. So I
Mm,
would continue schooling, but essentially I would be a teacher, and just like get my degree, another
mhm,
degree while I still have a job. And I was like, okay, that's like, safe enough. I was a babysitter, like a nanny throughout college. I'm like, it can't be that bad. I love kids. It's not going to be so bad. It's just gonna be a whole bunch of them. Lies. I'm talking
mm,
about them babies stress me
yeah.
out. My edge was right here. I'm talking about, oh my God, I was going bald. Like the kids was there was it was a lot.
A lot.
Teaching is not for the weak. If you are a
No.
teacher, were a teacher or are teaching, like I send you all the flowers, I send you all the love because teaching was not a game at all. And
Mm,
so that experience was like it was very hard because again I was still a student myself. I had to go to school, but I still didn't have to be a teacher. Like, so 9 to 5 and then you're in school. It just was a lot going on.
mm,
Um so that was cute and all until then the pandemic hit. And another thing that I have to plug in is while I was a teacher, the math was not mathing. The price of eggs was not, as I was calculating, it was not. I would plug in the numbers, it was always the negative. And I'm like, I carried the three. Okay, I carried the three as far as I could. Why am I still in the negative? It just wasn't giving. So I was like, I gotta do something to kind of like make that extra income because
yeah.
teachers are already underpaid. Don't get me wrong. They're
Yeah.
already underpaid, but as a teacher in residence, we got even less.
Wow.
So I was like, I'm calculating, it's not making any sense. So I
Mm,
was like, I got to do something that's gonna like help me, just make extra cash. In
mhm,
college, I used to be a nanny, but I also used to clean like people's homes.
mhm.
And also, if you grew up in an African household, you know how to clean. Your mama made sure you know how to clean. If you grew up in a Haitian household, a
Yeah.
Caribbean household, when that music turned on, you knew what that meant. Pick you a
Yep.
broom. You're not saying go find something productive to
Get
do.
up.
Once that worship in my house, my mom would turn on worship, and you knew what that meant. So I just I just grew up cleaning. I hated it, but I grew up
Yeah.
cleaning and I was so good at it. And so in college, there were people who were like, who had job listings around my area.
Mhm.
And so like I applied to one of the jobs. So I got the job and they loved me the way I was cleaning. And I was like, this money is kind of good. Like I didn't even gonna hold you in college. The money, it kind of made
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
And so when I was a teacher, I'm like, this is not working. But I was like, if I, maybe go back to cleaning, at least I can balance out, my funds.
Mm-hmm.
That way it can, provide for me. And then that way I can, after I'm done with this master's degree, hopefully I get a better job. The plan was to always leave teaching, but
Mm-hmm.
at least I wanted to take advantage of it, the money or some kind of stability that it gave to me at the time.
Yeah.
And so that's how I ended up starting my business. I registered my business February 5, February 5, 2020. That's when I registered my business. So I'm like, it's finna be good. We gonna get turned up, 2020 vision. I'm finna see, my eyes is open, like everybody gonna see, okay? I'm a cleaning, everybody gonna see. World shuts down. The whole world
The
shuts down.
whole
I'm
world.
talking about the whole world shuts down. It just was like, and I'm like, God, can I just win at something? Like,
Something.
give me
Oh my
something. So
gosh.
the world closes.
Mhm.
So the business is like, it's looking at me. I'm looking at them because whose house is going to clean? Everybody at their house.
Right.
Okay. Which office is going to clean? Everybody is leaving. So it just was like, it's not making any sense. And so we just sat there. And mind you, I was a teacher still. So when the kids was on Zoom, I was on Zoom with
Oh
them. Okay.
wow. Yeah,
My
yeah.
first year as a teacher, okay? First year as a teacher, I'm on Zoom. I don't know what I'm teaching them kids. They don't know what they're learning from me, but we on Zoom. Everybody on Zoom. It just was a mess, a mess, a mess.
Uh,
And it just was so stressful. And then I ended up getting COVID myself.
oh,
And I got it so bad. I felt like, Lord, am I about to come see you? I'm not ready. Like, it was so bad. Like, I'm like, I love you, Lord, but I'm not trying to see you. Not right now. Give me a couple more years. You know what I'm saying? Ain't got no kids. Ain't got nothing. Please, Lord, don't take me out.
don't take
It
us
was
out.
so bad. I was like,
Oh
don't
my
take me
God.
out.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
So much.
don't take me out. It was so much going on. And it's like, after I got really sick for the COVID, like, it was so bad. I just remember feeling like, I literally felt like I was going to not make it,
Mhm.
right? Because a lot of people were not making it. Like,
Yeah.
COVID was not,
Yeah.
it was not a joke. There were so many people that were,
Hmm.
um, meeting God from having COVID. And so
Yeah.
I was like, Lord,
Yeah.
I don't wanna, I'm not ready. And if you give me like another chance, like I just wanna do something different with my life. I don't wanna just do things that
Mm-hmm.
I don't wanna do, right? And obviously I'm alive. Thank you, Lord. Okay.
Yeah.
Went on to glory. I still, I'm still down here with the people of God. Um, and so that ended up just like, firming my decision that no matter whether or not the business picks it up or not, I'm finna leave teaching. Because it
Mm-hmm.
was already bad. Like, it was already bad being, on campus and then having to deal with being a student myself. It
Hmm.
was a lot to navigate. But then being a teacher on Zoom, I realize like I love them kids, but I also don't love them kids. Like, let them figure out their future from somebody else. Okay, you're not gonna find your future with me. I said no. So I was like, I'm finna quit. I'm gonna lead them kids, please. I'm gonna lead them kids. Go get somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
So I decided just like finish out the year because I was not gonna be selfish. Okay, let me at least finish out the year. So once I finished out the year, I didn't really have money. The business wasn't really giving nothing because everything was closed. And I was just kind of like, it doesn't matter what happens, I'm still not going to go back for a second year of teaching.
Wow. Yeah.
So once I made that decision, it was like, okay, so now something has to give, right? Like, we're not finna be teachers, but what else can we be that's going to give, the funds, to our life? What are we actually going to do to
Right.
pay these bills? Because the
Right.
eggs are still going to be the eggs. And so yeah, with COVID being like, one of the most terrible things that I feel like we've ever gone through,
Yeah. Yeah.
once the world started opening back up, people now were in demand of cleaners, right? Because everything now had to be clean.
Right.
So a business that kind of like stood still for like months,
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden started picking up momentum. And so once I quit my job, it didn't happen like this, but at least it was like prospects of things kind of like, looking up.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, I was like, I am somebody's daughter. Okay, my mama gonna pay some things, my sister gonna do some things. I ain't got a job. Everybody pull up. Okay,
Everybody.
everybody pay for some. And
I love that.
yeah, that's I ended up, essentially leaving my job. So I've only worked for anybody for 1 year.
Oh
For
my
one
God. All
year.
right.
I worked for
Let's
1 year and that was it.
we have to stick a pin right there because you just hit so many things on the head, and I want to tackle some of those. By the way, thank you guys so much for leaving your comments, and Benny, these people love you. I see all of your comments,
Thank
and
you
thank you guys so much
so
for
much.
joining. And yes, we are like, this is so much, and I'm really grateful. Another thing you said too, well, before I get there, shout out to all the teachers that are even watching, because
Yes.
it is not for the weak,
Yeah.
okay? It is not for the
Yeah,
weak.
yeah, I love them kids for
Yeah,
real. Yeah, I really love that. Yeah, I love them kids with your whole chest. With
okay,
your whole chest.
seriously, it is not, and teachers are definitely underpaid. I personally, while I was in dental hygiene school, I decided, oh, it would be cute to just work as a preschool teacher. Oh yeah, let me try this out, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was that
It'll
was rough.
humble you real
It,
quick. Humble you real
listen,
quick.
it will humble you. I absolutely love those kids. I do. And I personally just had to make the decision to leave working. And that's a whole nother story because hygiene school,
Mm-hmm.
that's not for the weak. And, thank God I am a hygienist. But another thing that I wanted to say too was you actually went through the training of becoming a teacher and then worked for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is something that everybody needs to hear that is watching this,
Mm-hmm.
because I think some people are so afraid, I'm going to say, to trust God, and so afraid to trust their path because they're like, I have to do it this way because I already went to school. I paid the
Mm-hmm.
money. This is how it's supposed to be. Do you hear that she literally tried to do schooling and schooling almost took her out, and the bills weren't, the eggs weren't being paid for, okay? And God just opened up this whole other avenue. And this is something that I want to pinpoint. This may not be for everybody, but if you know, you know that I am such a big believer that everybody has something on the inside of them if they look
Yeah.
hard enough
Yeah.
that they can actually pursue. And if you bring that thing to God, He can actually show you what to do, because you knew how to clean. That is golden. That is golden. And even teachers on here, if you ever thought about making a course, you guys naturally know how to put curriculums together.
Mm-hmm.
You guys could be putting knowledge that writing out a whole thing for it, and you can make money from that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, I think that that's
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal, and I think people need to hear that. Somebody said surrender and He'll unveil it. Absolutely, I am a testament to that, and
Mm-hmm.
Benny is clearly a testament to that, which is why you guys are here. The fact that she said, you know what, God, you gave me another chance. I feel like COVID, as bad as it was a wake up call, and it was actually a blessing for many of us.
Trust me, I woke up. I
Yeah.
woke up and I was like, we not going. And also another thing, I feel
Mhm.
like it's kind of crazy to hear, but everything you need is actually within you, right? Like think about it.
Mhm.
I I'm not saying like school is not important. Go to school. You know what I'm saying? Because some of y'all
Right,
can't
right.
spell. Please go to school. Learn how to spell some things. It's very essential. Please, okay? You need to know your spelling,
Uh,
okay? You need to know your spelling. So definitely, you know what I'm saying? Stay in school. However, comma period, everything that's now funding my life or even bringing me joy, these are
mm,
not things that I went to school for. It
right.
was always just like
Amen.
within me, right? Like the cleaning, I didn't go to school. It's just from doing it when I was
Right.
younger, right? Like that's how I'm able to clean.
Mhm.
Now, granted, the business side of it, I had to learn, right? Like
Right, right.
we haven't even talked about my first paycheck. I ended up getting like $91. And I'm telling you, I cried. I was like, I'm talking about wall on the door, just like sliding down, crying. Like I'm talking about boogers down my nose, crying. Because
Oh,
I'm like
you should have
$91.
recorded that. You should have
Like
recorded
90.
that.
Hello? All I needed was a camera. I was crying, sliding down.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
sliding down, just crying. But the thing is, the business side of it, I had
Yes.
to learn because it's been some contracts that I didn't read well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's been some
Mm-hmm.
contracts, some things that I had to learn and be like, oh, make sure that you cover this. There's a legal part of it. Make sure that you have this or whatever the case is. I had to learn all those things on the go. But
Mm.
everything that I needed to essentially fund my own life was already within me, right?
Right.
The
Right.
cleaning was a natural thing that I used to just do, shopping by doing it. But the social media, I didn't learn this, y'all. Like, y'all be on my couch, you know what I'm saying? We be there, I just be talking. It's just
Mhm.
me talking. There's no
Right.
sauce, there's no special nothing. It's just like what God has already given to me, and I just use it. I just use it, and
Right.
then we hope for the best. But God is good. God has made it so that it makes sense, right?